She's charged with murder, and today she faced a judge. But it's what went on outside the courtroom that's attracting national attention.
Coming up on the KUSI News at 10, police say she was drunk when she hit and killed a man. But it's the fact that she's here illegally that caused the stir outside a San Diego courthouse.
This is the KUSI News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Sandra Moss.
And I'm Alan Denton. Thanks for joining us. An illegal immigrant is facing murder charges in a DUI crash that killed a man. Prosecutors say she drove away with the victim's body stuck in her windshield. The Oceanside case has drawn national attention, and outside the courtroom today as well, there were protests. KUSI's Sasha Fu has more.
It was another day in court for 29-year-old Stacy Sanchez, the Oceanside woman who's accused of killing a man while driving drunk and leaving the scene with the victim's body still wedged through her windshield. The DA's office has decided it will now charge the driver with murder.
You have a right to a speedy preliminary hearing.
But outside the courthouse, these protesters say the public should be incensed about another fact in this case. The defendant is living in the U.S. illegally.
I'm against all illegals, no matter what country they're from.
These protesters built their own wall outside the Vista Courthouse, a wall of banners showing the names and faces of other U.S. citizens who've been killed because of criminal acts by undocumented immigrants. For some, the issue is deeply personal. This woman's 22-year-old son was killed in a motorcycle crash caused by an illegal immigrant. A passerby tried to argue that not all illegal immigrants are dangerous or criminal.
Not everyone that comes over is driving drunk. Not everyone that comes over is committing crime.
Every illegal is committing a crime. Every illegal enters this country illegally, and that's breaking a law. They break a law by remaining here because that's another law. So there is no such thing as a non-criminal illegal.
The rally was also attended by Jeff Schwilk, the founder of the San Diego Minutemen, and now heading a group called San Diegans for Secure Borders.
Somebody has to stand up for those victims because our politicians aren't doing it.
The demonstrators insist they're not targeting a particular ethnicity or nationality. They're asking the federal government and the justice system to do more to enforce the laws.
Many of these victims were killed by men and women from all over the world. This is not a race thing. This is about a criminal element.
You think our laws are unfair? Go to Mexico illegally. Their laws are stricter than ours. They actually follow their laws. We don't.
Some of the protesters tried to start a dialogue with other visitors to the courthouse. This woman was clearly irritated.
You respect people, respect us when we come out. Respect people, respect people because we just come out when you bother us.
And there was this exchange between a protester and a man of Mexican descent.
Where were you born? Friends, Texas. My parents doesn't matter. Where were you born?
Texas is
Where were you
Mexico.
born? Answer the question.
Far from Mexico.
That's that where you're from?
Stay still in Mexico.
Well, you should say so. Then you're illegally here then.
How are illegally? How do you not illegally?
You're illegal alien.
They can do nothing. They can do nothing.
Well, I'm going to notify ICE that they can pick you up.
Okay, call ICE.
The man whose legal status was being questioned later took out a driver's license. The protesters did not back down. They turned on their cameras. Just one example of the emotional and often confusing debate over immigration in America.
As for the criminal case, the defendant, Stacy Sanchez, is being held on $1.5 million in Las Colinas. If she is convicted of all the charges, she faces a minimum of 15 years in prison and a maximum term of life. Sasha Fu, KUSI News.
Live from San Diego, this is the Fox 5 News at 1.
Good Thursday afternoon. I'm Andrew Luria.
And I'm Maria Arcega-Dunn. We begin today with new charges against the woman accused of driving drunk and then dragging an Oceanside man with her car.
That change could put her behind bars for life. Fox 5's Robert Burns starts us off live from the North County Courthouse in Vista with the details. Robert.
Well, inside court this morning, we got a bit of a surprise when it turned into an arraignment for some serious murder charges. Meanwhile, outside the courthouse, it got a little heated as protesters stood out here pushing for justice.
There is no such thing as a non-criminal illegal.
Tensions rose outside of the North County Courthouse as protesters were confronted, speaking out against the woman accused of hitting a man in Oceanside with her car and continuing to drive a half mile with his head lodged through her windshield.
She is now being charged with the murder of Jack Ray Tenholzen. who was the originally alleged victim. What was previously count 1, the gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated, is now count 2.
As state attorneys upped her charges, 29-year-old Stacey Sanchez sat in court Thursday. Sanchez, an undocumented immigrant, was arrested after the DUI crash in June.
Unfortunately, there will never be justice in this case for the simple fact is that we cannot get Jack back. That would be justice.
Protesters rallied outside the courthouse during the hearing.
My son would still be alive. Your brother would still be alive.
Supporting the victim, 69-year-old Jack Tenhulsen, and other victims of undocumented immigrants.
These people are coming to our country illegally. They're breaking the law. And then they continue to break the law every second they are here in this country.
Sanchez pled not guilty to the charges. Attorneys say they may have a witness to come forward during trial. And Sanchez does still face those DUI and hit and run charges. If convicted, she does face now 15 years to life in prison. Live in North County, Robert Burns, send it back to you.
All right, Robert.
A driver is facing murder charges after a deadly Oceanside hit and run. Police say 29-year-old Stacey Sanchez drove onto the sidewalk in the 4000 block of Mission Avenue last month. Investigators say the crash sent 69-year-old Jack Tenhulsen's body through the windshield. They say Sanchez had a blood alcohol level more than 2 times the legal limit. Protesters with the Remembrance Project rallied outside today's hearing.
There will never be justice in this case for the simple fact is that we cannot get Jack back. That would be justice. But she could do a very, very long sentence in prison.
Sanchez could face 15 years to life in state prison. She was driving without a license at the time of the crash. Sanchez will be back in court late next month.
Protesters gathered outside the Vista Courthouse today as an alleged DUI driver inside was charged with murder. Prosecutors say Stacey Sanchez was drunk when she hit 69-year-old Jack Tenhulsen as he walked on the sidewalk last June. 29-year-old Sanchez pleaded not guilty to 5 felony charges and 1 misdemeanor. Protesters outside the courthouse were there to draw attention to crimes committed by undocumented immigrants.
There will never be justice in this case for the simple fact is that we cannot get Jack back. That would be justice. But she could do a very, very long sentence in prison, and then as soon as she's released from prison, she gets deported back to her home country.
In addition to the other charges, Sanchez also faces an immigration hold. She's due back in court September 27th.
Well, a tense scene outside Vista Court as a group expressed their anger over deadly DUI crashes involving undocumented immigrants.
We've got enough crime already. We don't need criminals coming over here from another country breaking our laws.
Dozens of protesters held up signs with pictures of family members killed by undocumented immigrants. They gathered today for Stacey Sanchez's case. Prosecutors say Sanchez was twice the legal limit for DUI when she hit and killed a man in Oceanside back in June. They say that she drove more than a mile with a body wedged in her car's windshield and then abandoned it near her home. Sanchez now facing murder charges.
Very thankful. I was very happy, because at least she's getting charged with something that she did. She outright murdered that man.
Protesters telling 10 News they'd like to see a law where any undocumented immigrant convicted of a crime is deported.
Actually, we want all illegal aliens deported, and there are already laws on the books requiring that. It's a felony to aid and abet illegal aliens, and government at all levels is breaking this existing law. Politicians and government officials who give illegals benefits that help them remain here and entice more to come are committing felonies. Politicians should not be above the law. We just want it enforced.